Joey Votto himself. This is my Marshall McLuhan moment, John Heyman. I happen to have Joey Votto right here. Where I bring him in. Joey, it's Brian Kenny. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you.
Brian, good to see you again.
You tell me what you make of that, where Taylor Ward, and he's the guy that's doing it, jumps from 12th to number 1 in the league by a wide margin, loses a lot of slugging, gains it in the on base. Your thoughts overall?
Well, I want to be supportive of a leadoff hitter getting on base at a nearly 40% clip. That's not nothing. That's important to the team. But there's a transaction there, as you notice, a very clear transaction. Is that predictive of every other player that attempts that? No, not necessarily. But in baseball, specifically in hitting specifically, nothing's for free. Nothing's for free. And I would beg the question: how sustainable is the on base if pitchers are feeling the lack of slug, lack of threat? You have to at all times feel like a threat. And I actually attempted this in, I think it was 19, where I kept up that real low O swing, and then all of a sudden pitchers could smell that I wasn't threatening them with a double or a home run. And I'll be interested to see whether or not this is sustainable, because at some point they just start firing balls right in the middle of the plate. Now, to his adjustment, I get the sense that he may have emphasized this in the offseason and decided that this is going to be his approach, because to your point, this is not something he has a long track record of doing. Juan Soto has done this since he entered the league, and it's kind of that standard commentary on, scouting commentary, power, the doubles turn into home runs, power starts improving as you get older, as you get stronger. And I don't know if all of a sudden you just get on base as much as you want just because you decide to in Major League Baseball.
So I'm wondering, to cut to it, let's say you're in the baseball ops group with the Orioles. What would your advice be to Taylor Ward? Now that he's shown, I can be a guy with 36 homers, I can be a guy with 390 on base, what would the advice be to be the best possible hitter?
I lean more towards him attempting the power, because I think that's something that I think he can repeat over the long term. If a guy is mid 300 slug, again, if they're going to plot him in the leadoff role and he's getting on base at 375, close to 400, very useful, especially if he's a speed guy. But if he's not a guy that's going to take the extra base, going to steal a base, and if he starts dipping down to the low 300s, somewhere around 300 on base, then he's 600 on base, a 600 OPS guy that is leading your team off, that was hitting close to 40 home runs. You get a very small opportunity in Major League Baseball, and you have to max out your strength over and over and over to be able to make that starting lineup. And nobody gets to just get on base at a 390 clip and expect it to sustain. And so without the matching skill, that's the key. And does he have that ability to be a tough 2-strike hitter? Does he have the ability to get deep into tough at-bats against the very best over and over and over? 2 out of every 5 plate appearances, he's getting on base. Zach Wheeler, Paul Skeens, Shohei Ohtani are not excited about handing a base to Taylor Ward just because he decided, I'm not going to hit home runs. And this is not to discredit him. That's how tough the league is.
Okay. You probably heard the news, mentioned it at the top of the program. Mets firing their manager, Carlos Mendoza. What's a player's view of that? We asked Yonder Alonso, used to be on your club. He said you were very good to him, by the way. Yonder says hello. What's your view, player's view, when your manager gets fired?
If you like the manager, it's a bummer, especially if they play you a lot and they hit you in the order where you want to hit and they pat you on the back when you do well. If you hate the guy, beat it. I mean, I can't. It's obvious. But I don't know how the clubhouse felt about that particular manager, and it just sometimes it's a really great thing for the roster, and they were clearly underperforming. So I think managers, personally, I think managers are not particularly useful. I think you can put a 26-man roster together and throw it out there, and the best teams are going to rise to the top no matter what. But I just made about 30 enemies with that comment. So.
Well, look, there's that thought. At the same time, there is the thought of what's the overall culture and energy. How much is a manager responsible for that? Not just tactics, but as far as like just everybody maxing out on their performance.
No, it's tongue in cheek. My comment before. There's no question about it. Managers are able to tap into things, be able to connect to players, be able to there's a hierarchy, of course, in terms of efficiency, and some managers are better at that, or better at managing a clubhouse. So I can't speak too much to this to the Mets.
Did you ever want to manage?
No. Well, I mean, if they were going to give me Craig Counsell's contract, then that's an absolute yes.
Look, at this point in your life with your contracts that you had, but that would, I guess, money in is money in. Yeah.
Man, BK, I am a dirtbag, so I will take it.
I said that to myself and my wife. I'm a mercenary. I get it. You know what I've noticed is that it used to be GMs used to be happy, managers stressed. The last couple of winter meetings, I'm talking like the last 10, suddenly managers are relaxed, they're cool, they're in the fight with the boys, right? And the GM is tense. Like the pressure has moved to where now the lead executive, he's not happy. Like I've asked like Alex Anthopoulos, what was it like chasing down the Mets? And you beat the Mets and you at the last day of the regular season, he said, it was agony, it was stressful. I was like, you won. Wait, what are you talking about? So has that stress changed upstairs, do you think?
I think for sure. I mean, when I came up, I had Dusty Baker as my manager, and he was in full control, not just of the team, but of the organization. And there was always ideas bounced off of him, and he was helping make decisions. And I think I get the sense, and I know I'm wrong on this, but I'm going to say it, that the manager has less control than he used to, and will only be so impactful and so emotionally connected to the result when you're an executive, you're running the team, and every roster decision falls on your shoulders. Every single the style of play in general falls on your shoulders because of how the roster is constructed, because of how the culture is created, and it's stressful for that reason. I think it falls on the Cashmans, on the Dombrowskis of the world, because of how impactful they are with their organization.
Absolutely, Joey. I don't know if you saw it, like last week. We did this whole big interview with you. At the very end, you had your dog in the back of the car. Did you see every headline was Joey Votto named his dog after Joe Morgan? That's the only thing people saw. Once they saw the dog, everything was wiped out. The people didn't retain a thing. They only saw your dog.
That's how I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Nobody says hello to me anymore. Everybody says hello to my dog. So, I mean, I don't feel as specialized as I used to be. So, yeah, she's number one.
You have a celebrity dog. Joey, great talking to you again. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
See you all. Thank you.